Good evening. Mr. Jordan here. Wanted to run through our presentation that we were going to use tonight at the community town hall meeting. We apologize for not having it. Due with the weather coming in, we just felt like it was important that we probably don't put people on the road. And so hence why I'm here doing this presentation. And if you do have any questions while I go through it, please write them down, give us a call, shoot me an email. We will do our best to get you an answer. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about the referendum letter that was sent out yesterday, and we posted on our live feed in Facebook. We did miss the 15 days notice for the paper. It was in the paper, or it will be in the paper tomorrow. It has been in the Tribune 2 days, and we feel like we've done a great job of getting the word out on voting this year. The bond firm felt comfortable with us moving forward with the election. We've done several mailers that have gone out to households. We've done 3, and this is the 4th presentation for the community. We've been at local churches. We did coffee with Mr. Jordan. There's been numerous articles in the paper, and so we feel like we've done a great job to let people know that there is a vote at the school. And so I'm going to just go quickly through these slides. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. Just going off of April 2021, or March since 2021 when we had a last vote, we really took into consideration what the people wanted. And so location was probably the biggest thing that we've heard. And so we have since purchased some property around the school. We started by a southeast lot that we were going to make a parking lot. Later on, we found out, we bought a house behind the school. Wanted to inquire about some property just to the north of that, which was owned by Pride Inc. That had nothing on it. When we had consulted with Pride, they basically gave us the opportunity to buy it all or none, as they were not doing well financially. And so we decided to buy that property and move forward. And so this building project really is on site and location that is exactly what we heard from the public. Just looking at enrollments over the last couple years, the last 3 years, our enrollment has gone up 45 students. A majority of that is from incoming young families. We have approximately about 35 open enrolled students out of the 281. Again, most of our growth is in the elementary with new incoming young families. And so we see this trend continuing to move upwards. We did hear about the Highway 83 location of a building project, or not a building project, but a housing development going on across the road from us. And so that potentially is going to, again, increase our numbers. And so we are maxed out right now, and so we knew the time was to continue to move forward with some sort of a project so that we can, number one, take care of our initial needs that we have now, and 2, prepare and plan for the future. And so you can see on this slide our current elementary enrollment compared to our current high school. And as those high schools kids leave and we have incoming kindergartners and preschoolers that come in, and those numbers are 20 plus, then we're really increasing our numbers just based on the people that we have currently in town. And so we see this trend continuing as we move forward. Space. So we've got a 4-room portable that we have purchased that is completely full. We have our upper level math out there. We have classes that we, through interactive television, that we can't offer, like medical related careers, art, foreign languages. All of those are out in our portable, as well as our technology coordinator who does teach a class out there. Our lunchroom, we added another lunch just because of the space, and so our lunch goes from 10:35 to 1:15 every day now. just so that we can accommodate. We don't have people eating in the hallways or in the fax room, and so those are tight spaces. Our speech team, there's a group that works together in a small room. So one sped teacher in our speech path. Our 5th and 6th grade classes have now moved up with the split. We currently have 3 split classes down in our elementary. And so these are all the things that we're trying to work through and get creative with currently at our building. You could see DPI's are recommended square footage compared to what our current square footage is. And then with the building project, what the expansion square footage would entail. All grades and subjects with the expansion would have 2 classrooms. So 2 classrooms for every elementary grade and 2 classrooms for every subject up in our high school. So we currently have 9 elementary classrooms that don't meet the DPI recommendation and 11 in the high school, along with our cafeteria. I've already mentioned before, 3 elementary classrooms are split. Our 5th and 6th grade is upstairs and our portable is full. This is a time lapse. We're going to see if this works. I'm not exactly sure if it'll work or not. It does work. As you could see, this is from morning until that was breakfast, and now we're going through a time period between now and lunch period. It does get used for some pullouts or Title I stuff, and so we do have groups of kids that will come in here. This is our early elementary lunch, and going into our upper level lunch, and then our high school. So again, currently we serve breakfast from 8 to 8:30, 10:30 to 1:15 is our lunchroom times. Square footage compared. This is a new slide from the last presentation, or the presentation 2 times ago, based off some of the people or the schools that Consolidated Construction has worked with, and then our area schools, their total square footage, their current enrollment, and what that breaks down to per student. And so you can see we are behind in this category. A couple of those, Rugby and New Salem, do have more than 1 building. I am waiting for a couple other schools to give me some, so if that happens, I will add to it. This presentation you can find on our website under Building Project, and we list everything that we're doing and everything that we've talked about in that webpage. So why was the school good enough for me, but now space is quiet? There's a lot of things that have changed over the last 40 years. Even when I was in school, you come, we get our academics, we go home. No longer is that kind of the case. We're really educating the whole child. And so there's social and emotional well-being, and we know that if a child's basic needs are not being met, they're not going to be able to learn. And so we've added a behavioral specialist to our school with the behavioral needs that we've had. We've got a partnership with Sanford for mental health needs. We've got a Vera e-care for e-nursing services, and we've got our targeted case manager that we get through Nexus Path. All of this helps us connect the pieces and ensure that we're reaching all of our kids. We also have an EL certified teacher, which is required on staff, and we have a K3 reading strategist. We also have a full-time kindergarten and a full-time preschool online. We're one-to-one in technology. There's greater accountability than they're used to, dating all the way back to No Child Left Behind in the 1980s with the Race to the Top and those types of things. And so our requirement of getting every student to be choice ready, whether that be college, career, or military, and the accountability pie, if you ever have questions on what we are accountable for and what we get graded on as a school district, please reach out. or you can go to NDDPI and under Insights type in Wilton and you can see our accountability pie. We've got other additional classes. We're trying to get students involved in careers at an earlier age to help them decide, so that they don't get to college and like, oh, I went to college 2 years and now I want to switch my major. And so the earlier that we can prepare them for some of those careers, they might take a different path, or they might find out that they really love what they're doing. And so that's something that we've been really trying hard to get kids prepared for whatever it is, life after high school. So the areas of focus that we have really haven't changed, other than now we are looking on our current location. We obviously need new classroom space, lunchroom, and then we've got some code issues in our ag and science areas. Those have not been updated in quite some time, and both need some ventilation and things like that in order for them to do some of the chemical and welding and stuff like that needs to be done. And so those are areas of focus for us. This is kind of the new properties, the yellow that we've acquired. The pink is currently the fourplex portable. And so you can see how we've grown in land size adjacent to our current location. This is just a long-term planning option. Basically, it plots things on there and shows that we do have room for growth even after an expansion. The yellow would be the expansion of 10 new classrooms. And in the middle of the school would be the cafeteria expansion. The blue are the science area and the ag areas that we would be renovating. None of this is necessarily set in stone. It's just to plot things on there and show that we do have room for growth. We would have additional room for even more classrooms if needed, or a gym, more green space, parking, and those types of things. Again, this is kind of a breakdown, but you can see on the bottom half of this is kind of the lower elementary, where our current high school would be the upper elementary, and then the top piece would be a brand new piece of a high school. I'm not going to get into too much of this, obviously, because I do not have the experts with me. But this, I can tell you that new construction cost from April of 2021 was at $275, and we are now at $375. We do have contingency money in here for this project, just in case, if you never know when something would come up and that we're not aware of. And so we do have that built into this project. This also takes into consideration the tear down of Redwood. So the tax impact, you can go onto our website and type in your true and full value, and it'll do the calculations for you and tell you what it will cost you on an annual basis. But you can see it from this on a residential 100,000. You can look at the different breakdowns, and then ag and commercial, the same thing. I also posted a video on our live feed in Facebook that takes you through exactly how to figure it out. Because if you look on the ballot is talking taxable value, not true and full value. And so there's a difference there. You can't take the taxable value times the number of mills and get your answer. It'll be a big number. You need to take that true and full value and then divide that in half, take it times 0.09, and then take it times the mill to actually get your answer. Or if you do have your taxable value, you can take that times the 0.04851, and that'll give you your taxes as well on an annual basis. Any questions on that, just reach out to us. There are some bills that will probably be introduced this year that will buy down taxes. The one that I heard a proposal from Senator Shively out of Mott would be to decrease the school's mills from 60 to 30, and then use the legacy fund to offset the school's funding. So there are things out there that could help the taxpayer as we move forward, and I would venture to guess there'll be something to buy down taxes that will go through this year. We feel this is a great investment in our kids. We're doing a great job. Our kids are graduating. Our test scores have been great compared to the state average. And so we want to continue to provide a high quality education for our students. And we feel like having the space to do so allows us not to cram kids in classes and make a tough situation for them to learn. And so this would obviously help us move forward with that and keep up with the pace that we have and continue to grow and get better as a school district. We've talked about a multi-level addition. The cost of a multi-level addition just isn't really feasible. It's going to cost a lot more to build up. We still, if you go back to that page, we still have room for additional classrooms if needed. And we don't think that that's just a good use of taxpayer dollars. Plus, when the renovations would happen, we'd have to be out of the building. And so we can't do it on the existing roof because of the load that it requires. It just isn't made for it. And so we felt like the expansion is our best option moving forward. Do we plan on looking at potential grants? We will look at every grant. There's not a grant out there per se that will help with the cost of the building project, but we could find niches like for electrical technology, those types of things that could be out there. But any grants that we would try to go for, we really couldn't go for until after the project's approved. They're going to want to see that the project has been approved before we can actually apply for a grant. Will we raise money privately? Yes, same thing with the grants. Project must be approved, and then we can seek out any other opportunities out there that could help potentially with this project. What if construction costs are different than planned? Does not matter. Whatever, if we pass the referendum at 8.97 million, that stays. We would work with that number. If we have to decrease what we're doing, we would do that. If we can get more for that, we would do the same. So the 8.97 does not change regardless if it gets approved by the voters. Will the project go up for bid? Absolutely. Our construction manager, Consolidated Construction, helps us with that. It is a very public bidding process, and those are fully done with us and Consolidated Construction. Everything's legally done by Century Code, so that we do it and we get the best bang for our buck. What about the lot on Dakota Avenue? So right now, as we speak, and as I'm speaking to you right now, the hole is getting filled in. We needed to do that before winter. The city would want us to do that before winter, and we felt like that's the best case scenario. Then we have our bond issue. If it passes, then we can make a decision in the spring what we want to do with that property. The additional parking is something that we could use, especially for games and for our staff during the day. And so the board will weigh that in after the spring and after a project has been approved. What will happen to the portable? We will sell the portable more than likely and use that to help pay down the bond. And going back to those other two slides I forgot to mention, if we get grants, if we get private money, all of that would go to buy down the bond. We can't decrease the project. We can buy down the bond. So the bond is set for 20 years. We could potentially buy that down 17 years if we get it. If we do get private money also, and it's a donor that wants to go to something specific, it would go to something specific. But the portable would be sold, and we could use to help buy down the bond. Who's eligible to vote? U.S. citizen, 18 years, and a legal residence within the past 30 days. So we've gotten this question quite a bit. I own land here, but I don't live here. You can't vote. You can rent, you can buy, you can own. own a house, but you must be living in it for the last 30 days, whether that you be owning or renting. All identifications will be required for you to vote, and to ensure that you are in district boundaries. Voting will happen November 15th from 7 to 7 here at the Wilton School in our fax room. You can just come through the main entrance in the building. Absentee ballots can be picked up and have been picked up. They just have to, and we're open from 8 to 4 every day that we're in session. They have to be back by 4 o'clock on November 14th or postmarked by November 14th in order for them to be allowed to count. If you were a part of the January 2022 and you've been on the absentee ballot, you should have received one from us. Those are good for 1 year. Here's the ballot. Again, they're talking taxable evaluation on this ballot. So 48.51 on each 1,000 of taxable value, not true and full. So if you know your taxable value, you could take that times 0.04851, and that'll tell you. If you have your true and full value, you need to divide that by half, take it times 0.09 for residential and 0.1 for commercial, and then times 0.04851, and that'll give you your answer. Or you can go on our website. If you have your true and full value, type it into the tax calculator, and it'll spit that number out for you. Breakdown of ballot language. This is exactly what I just went over, so I won't go over it again. Here's that true and full value times the 50%, times 0.09 or 9%, or times 10% for commercial, then times 0.04851, and that'll give you your answer if you have true and full. I talked about the housing development before. There's a video on it. There is a housing development going on the west side of 83 that will help the tax base. And so if we start this in 2024, we have new homes coming in 2026 that will help level the playing field, so to speak, on your taxes, and it will help decrease taxes for everybody. What is the timeline? Hopefully November 15th. After that, there's a lot of designing and engineering that needs to go on until the spring. We will do our competitive bidding in the spring sometime, and with construction starting summer or fall of 2024. Any questions or feedback, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. The project website is down at the bottom. We have everything on there for you. You can reach out to board members as well if you need to. Again, I just appreciate you listening in. If you have questions, please reach out to somebody. Reach out to me, email, call. We will do our best to get the answer. Again, November 14th, 7 to 7, here at the school. You can come and vote. We appreciate it, and thank you so much for listening.